to take the topic about user interface practices, and we are mainly going to discuss about three main parts in this section today. So the first one is an intro to the user interface, that is UI. So what is an user interface? So that's the question. Answer is, user interface is the interface space between the human and the machine. So where the machine can communicate with the human and human can communicate with the machines. So we can take an example of keyboard as in. We can take an example of computer keyboard as an example. So it's having the keys to interact. When the man or human being is typing a words on the keyboard and entering a data to the machine, it will pass the command to the machine and displays the feedback from the machine in the form of a light display. That, for example, the caps lock button and everything. So that is the basic of the user interface. And we deal about the web user interfaces. We are getting into this category. And in this web interfaces, we have a browser and human to communicate. So we code in that part only. So we are all segregated to the part of web user interface, that is WUI. Okay, next section is principles and tips about UI. So first thing in this principles and tips about UI is ideas. So what all we do is we take a common idea. That means, for example, when you are going to develop a sign-up form for a website, and in that form, you just come up with an idea to create a sign-up form. What you do usually is you just take that sign-up code from your previous projects, and then you just integrate into our thing, and you just finish with that. So you have to not sit with that single idea, and you have to think of so many ideas and gather too much ideas, and then you have to segregate between the idea and come up with a single one. So that's the best one. Like for example, a normal sign-up form will be validating after clicking that submit button. So this is not the best UI at all. So what you have to do is gather some other ideas, how other people have implemented the sign-up form, and then you have to implement the latest technology. For example, the Ajax sign-up form. When a user select a field, select a username, and then navigate to the next tab, and we have to show notification of the username is whether available or not. Likewise, this is the best way of using the user interface. So that's about ideas. And the next thing is consistency. So every website will be consistent throughout the design. So first part, when you are creating a new page or a new template to an existing website, you have to go through the website and you have to check how the UI looks like, and you have to resemble with that UI. So that's a very important part. You have to consistent with the UI. What I am meaning in this consistent is using the same font for the headings, same color for the headings, and then the background BGs and everything. So that's about consistency. And third part, we can discuss about flexibility and reliability. So what is flexibility and reliability in our UI is, first thing, when you are, for example, we can take an example, and we create a auto suggestion box. Okay, so auto suggestion box is nothing but it fetches the data from the database and appends to the user to select through and navigate to that page. I mean the search terms or everything. So if you are creating autocomplete, which is not at all browser compatible, I mean it's not working across browsers, it is not flexible. And then it fetches the data from DB, and it is taking so much of time, means again it's not reliable. So you have to be very sure about that flexibility and reliability. Okay. Then okay, ideas, consistency, and differentiating the elements. Distinguishing between the elements. So we can take a core of website into three visible things about differentiating. One is what you can see, that is the visible content, and the second one is the hidden content, and third one is linking. So first one is what you see when a page loads, that is the visible content, and the second one is hidden content. It can be activated when we use a mouse over action or something, or something like a JavaScript thing. For example, we can take a navigation. If you mouse over on a navigation, it will show some other content which is actually hidden in the initial stage. So that is what hidden content is. And then links is all you know. When you click on a link, it will navigate to other pages. So we have to take care of these things because the first content is not a problem, and the second one is the hidden content. When you are showing that, just use a arrow or navigation indicating the user that there is so much more to explore into it. So for example, we can take a my account page. So just displaying the name of a member, and then by giving a drop down arrow like that, like this arrow, and then if you click on that arrow, we can navigate a hidden content, and it shows that my account and vouchers or something, another step, sign out and out. So that is what hidden content explorer. And then links, we have to differentiate the links using different colors or else by an underline. You have to differentiate between the normal content and the links. This is about differentiating elements. So that is about differentiating. And then location of placing the elements. I mean, if a user comes to a site and he intended to search a term, so if you place a search bar in the bottom of the website, there is no sense like using that thing. So you have to be careful in using that location of placing the elements. So the search bar will always on the top section, and login will always on the top section. And I think theory is a bit boring, so let's go to the practical section because I don't know much theory. So that's the third one, is that user interface practices. So the first thing is developers use CSS and they are not using that in a perfect way. So some common mistakes are there, what developers can do in writing the CSS. So I will list out a few things, so just take care of the things. So first one is avoiding the shorthand notifications, shorthand properties, like margin. Margin is having 4 sessions. One is the top, and then right, bottom, and then left. So this is what a shorthand notifications looks like. And we have other properties in CSS also, like margin, hyphen top, and then you can represent everything, right, bottom, left. So if you are giving a margin for an element for top and bottom, what a developer will do is they just write margin top and then it's 10 pixel, margin bottom and then 10 pixel. So it comes in 2 lines. So this is not optimistic. So what you have to do is you have to represent using this one, like top is 10 pixel and then right is 0 and then bottom is 10 pixel again and then 0. This can be also be shortened to 10 pixel and 0. This represents top and bottom, and this one is left and right. Similar to margin, you can use padding, and also for background you can use background is a property which have first one, you can give a image URL using URL and then the image path space. You can give a color code for the background and then space, whether the background should be repeat or not, like that. So you have to learn about this sort of notifications and try using that in our code. And then proper naming of the CSS classes. So you have to be careful with the naming, because it will help in maintaining in the future maintenance purposes. If you are having a text box in a sign up section and you just give the class name as dot text box 1 or text box small, it doesn't make sense. So what you have to write is sign up hyphen text box. So likewise, you have to write naming which should be relevant to the page what you are using about. Okay, another thing about basic layout is we can place an element using float properties and position absolute. So many of us have the doubt how to use the float property and how to use the position absolute and relative property. So how this will work means, so this is our layout and we have to position element left and one element on right, okay, using this, not using tables. So first thing you have to do is you have to float this element in left and right. So let us take this as div1. Div1 will have the CSS coding as float left, and then you have to give the width of it to apply, because if you write just float left, it will be floated in left and some contents will be on right side, and we can't distinguish between the layouts. So you have to give the width necessary. So say 100 pixels. Similarly for div2, float right and then width 100 pixel again. So this will arrange the element left and right, but another one issues encounters when we just provide this much of codes. What is that? Is if you introduce a new div here, that is going to be your footer things. What happens is if that right sidebar things are content div extends, it will overlaps with this footer thing, because these floats need to be clear while having a new element introduced on the next section to get that height achieved in an equal manner. So the old way of using clearing the float is we use br and then the style is clear both. After this div element, div1 and div2, we give a br and style is showing clear both. So this is the old way of using clear fix. But now we have another one technique called clear fix. If you search it in Google, you can get that code. It is approved code which can be used in a different way than using this BR clear both stuffs. What you have to do is you have two divs which is to be placed one on left and one on right. If you use float means you have to unwrap this wrap this div with another one div, and here comes the div1 and div2. This is left and this is right one. And in this div, you have to call that clear fix class. That's all. So in whatever maybe the sections you are using the left and right, just wrap the div with a clear fix, and that's enough. It will clear the fixes, and this footer will be automatically adjusted according to the layout.
Clear fix.
Clear fix. CSS clear fix. I will update that document in consequence. So this is the basic about float things. and then position absolute and relative. So what is the purpose of that is, so this is the layout, and we have a div here, and we have another one div which is to be shown just above this one, likewise. The close button, for example, we have a close button image here, and we have to display this close button here and then inside this div. So this can't be achieved using this because this is not the right way. So we have to use a position absolute and relative concept here. So we have to give a position relative to this element and then position absolute to this one. So what this will make sense means, position relative is nothing but a blocker. It is a box like thing. So position absolute, in this position absolute we give top 0 and then left 0 means this is the wall of the parent element. I mean, this position relative will act like a parent and this is like a child. So in default, if we don't give position absolute to this wrapper, what will come if we give top 0 and left 0 means it will go to the browser end corner. Okay. So by wrapping in this, where this icon will display is in this location because we have mentioned left as 0. So to align it to right, we have to give the right 0. That's all. To adjust between these sections, we can use that pixel ratings again, 1 pixel and 2 pixel and 3 pixels. So this is about position relative and absolute. Anyone having a doubt in this section? I mean, position relative and
what is the position static?
position static is nothing but it stays in a stickly manner. It sticks to that one. I mean that layout. So we won't use that more. We just use the position relative and position absolute for that one. Here also that inherent property. Inherent property is nothing but it will take that property from the parent element. I mean, if we have another one wrapper div which is having a position relative means it will take the relative from there. So I think I have for today. Okay, done, finished.
Those.
Ah.
Sorry?
Tell something about iframe.
Huh?
Tell something about iframe.
iFrame. iFrame you won't use. iFrame is a concept like embedding another one web page or something into our page. If we have a whole page which is using iframe means we can have a header which is pulled up from another one site. So that will have the perfect header coding, just like the include things in PHP. iframe is nothing but an include thing, that's all. So you can get the third party application through iframe and you can use your own through the iframe. It's like header and footer. In the old traditional way of HTML, they used to get that header and footer thing using iframe concept, and the center content will be the same. If you note in that traditional website and some government websites, you can see that header and bar will be the same and then center content will be loading. Okay.
So you know PHP too.
No, I don't know PHP.